Now, first of all, let me make clear that I am very appreciative of Terry Baldassarre and everything that he does for the watch community. I know for a fact that many of you don't like him because he's part of the industry. He is an authorized dealer himself. He has an online shop and all these good things. But this is where I draw the line here with the criticism on him. Yes, he has these connections and he is soft in many cases when it comes to criticism against brands, but he delivers the best cinematography in the business. There is so much to see every time he goes and visits a factory. It's not even a joke. I really enjoy his videos. I'm thankful that he's doing what he's doing. And yeah, he did it again. He went to the IWC factory. Before we continue any further, if you have seen this phase more than once, it's probably a good indicator you enjoy my videos, so please like, subscribe. It helps tremendously a small channel like this, showing me what I do right, and your appreciation on these videos really helped me to continue doing them. Thank you so much. And it would be an understatement to say that there was a big difference between what IWC is doing and what Breitling is doing. And it's very interesting comparison comparing IWC with Breitling because technically IWC is part of the Richmond Group and technically Breitling is an independent owned by an investment firm. So yeah. It's crazy to see what CEOs can do. I assume many of these decisions comes from even higher up than the CEO in the group level. We know for a fact that Swatch, for example, is placing brands based on how they want to compete in the market, and they see all the brands as part of their portfolio. We talked about this with Longines versus Omega, for example. Longines could easily be competing with the Omegas and the Rolexes of the world based on history, based on innovation, based on quality even. But they are choosing to be competing with the Tudors of the world and the Oruses of the world, and I think that's a shame. Now, when it comes to IWC, it's pretty high up. I mean, Richmond Group doesn't have many companies that are in the low end. Baume & Mercier would be the one, but even them, if you ask me, I think they're severely underrated. So IWC, we walked through the factory with Terry, and you can see how they talk about movement, manufacturing. They have a bunch of machines. They claim that they make about 1,500 pieces. I don't know how much of that is true. I don't know. Now, at the same time, IWC makes severely less watches than most brands out there. So even though they don't look like they have all that capability of manufacturing large numbers, they don't make as many watches as you might think. Especially for a brand of that caliber. So I see it plausible that they make many different kinds of pieces in there for movements. They also decorate the movements in-house. They do the plating of the movements in-house. They do the printing of dials in-house. They also do the cases in-house. So they have the raw metals and they just make cases out of those metals, and the Ceratanium and a bunch of different ones that we all know as IWC. Everything happens in-house. Yes, they have suppliers. Santoni is one of them that provides the straps for the watches, but Santoni is a very high-end Italian shoe and leather goods manufacturer. It's up there, top of the crop, so that's a good thing if you ask me. And you can say that, like, I used to have an IWC and the strap held up incredibly well. It just aged and it got a patina that made it even better, in my opinion. So yeah, IWC is killing it. And I think that has something to do with the CEO. Like I said, many of these decisions are made by investment boards, and that is understandable, but the CEO has a big input on everything. And the CEO of IWC had a say in the design of the building of IWC, and everything that came up after George Kern left. And you can tell that there was a big difference. You went from the pilot's watch, for example, and I'll bring this because I have experience with it. I used to have the La Petite Prince version of the pilot chrono. And that was a 43-inch, 15.5-inch thick case. And then it wasn't, the movement was generic. It was a 7750 modified by IWC, a little bit decorated, a little bit tight tolerances. They used to like test this in 6 different positions, and that's great. But it was a generic movement for a watch that cost close to $8,000. The bracelet was not tapering. There was only 60 meters of water resistance, and there was no exhibition case back. And the new model has everything. It has exhibition case back, it has a tapering bracelet, it has an in-house movement, it has all the goods that you expect when you spend that kind of money. And that is incredible to see. And you compare that with what Breitling has become. Breitling used to do everything that IWC is showing still doing currently. They used to do, at least for the Chronomat, and now they don't. Just so you know, I did send an email to Breitling. I never received an answer, 2 weeks now. Britt said that she would, Britt Pierce from the channel, she said that she would talk to her connections in Breitling, see what they say about this. I haven't heard from her. She hasn't made a video about it. So I don't know. But I did my own research online, and it seems like they don't have any other factories left except for the chronometry, where they make the movements, or even better said, assemble, because they only make the base plates and 4 different bridges, and everything else comes from suppliers. They do a lot of testing, they do a lot of quality control, but that's about it. Everything else is just sourced and assembled in that factory. While IWC, it seems that they make most of the components of their movements. They make their cases, they print their dials in-house. So there's a lot more of in-housiness there, which also, and we talked about in-house versus outsourcing, and I again am with you guys where you say, hey, I don't care if it's in-house, I care if it's good quality. I'm with you. But it's different when you say, they make this. We like to have that idea that our watches are made by people that are well paid, well trained, machines that are high end. They are in specific location. These are luxuries in the end of the day. I mean, every little bit helps. I asked you lately this question about recycling. I'm going to talk about it whenever I do a video about these polls. And it's 50-50. Half of you believe that recycling should not be a thing in luxury watches. Half of you think that it has a place if it's done right. And I can see both cases, but you can tell that the tide is towards it doesn't have a place, or if it does, it should be done in a specific way, so it's not very out there, it's not showing. And I am with you on that one. So IWC is having that kind of control in their production, and I think the CEOs have something to do with it. The moment George Kern left IWC, we saw much more innovation in IWC. We went to in-house movements, we went to different kinds of cases, we went to different kinds of materials, we went in many good things that IWC has done in the past years. And yes, he revived a little bit Breitling and design, in the sense that he went back to the 50s and 60s and all these good designs that Breitling used to do back then, but he almost completely dumped everything that happened since the 80s, 90s, all that brutal masculine watchmaking. It could be thinner, it could be smaller, he could make all these designs a little bit different. He kept some of those, but he kept them at the low end of the brand. And I think it's a shame. You can tell that one brand is making watches looking long term, and the other one is making watches in order to sell at some point. I think that's what I'm keeping from these two. Both of them very close connected with airplanes, aeronautics, and they take very different approaches in how they make their product and what kind of product they make. Let me know what you think about IWC, about Breitling, about their CEOs, and also about Teddy. I really, 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 really enjoy watching Teddy. That's my guilt pleasure. Thank you so much for watching. Until the next one. Ciao.